Hello, I'm EnterElysium and welcome back to Children of a Dead Earth, the realistic space combat simulator. So, we managed to complete retaking Ceres last time. Now we've got Ceres back, we've got Homecoming. However, I'm going to skip Homecoming because it's just a get back from a really distant planetoid to Mars, and it's just a, travel through the solar system. We're also going to skip Main Belt Extraction, which is a combat, but it's a precision combat, disable a craft one, and we're going to go straight up for a badass fleet combat, defend against an enemy onslaught around VESTA, then destroy all remaining enemies. So, we get to do custom fleets for this. Oh yeah! Right, so we've got aggressive enemies, fleet combat's going on. In retaking Ceres, we managed to unlock custom fleets and making our own craft. And if we complete this one, we unlock module design, except for the fact that I played this because I really wanted to unlock module design. I got a little bit bored, and I really wanted to design some modules because it's really fun. So I may have designed some modules. I'll try not rely on those for this, but we will create our own fleet. So let's go to the briefing. The idea being that they have an experienced and very aggressive admiral. They have their own version of the silo ship that they copied off us. They have a fleet carrier, and a corvette, and a cutter. Now, the cutter has a load of green lasers, which should be pretty good at shooting down our ordnance. They have a decoy, so again, ordnance is going to be less good. Decoys, ordnance less good. They've got pretty badass coil gun, a load of 11mm railguns, lots of nukes, more decoys, and drones. And again, 11mm railgun and coil gun. Yeah. That is certainly tricky. What are they packing in the way of armor? Reinforced carbon with a small sheet of aluminium over the top. Same for you. Same for you. You have a weird type of armor. Boron carbide with a layer of liquid crystal polymer fiber. Interesting. None of them using air gaps, which is makes them a little bit weaker against solid projectiles. Right. Well, let's design our own force. So we're going to remove all of this, and we're going to go to ship design. Oh yeah, let's create a new ship. So we want warship, we want new. Okay, so this is the warship design screen. You get to pick from a load of modules, you get to add, you've got a mass limit for the, this is by the way for the entire fleet. Cost limit up here for the entire fleet as well. So we've got to make sure that whatever we build, we kind of fit it inside here. We don't just one craft. We want to hopefully get maybe 3, they've got 4, so I don't feel like going, certainly no less than 2. So make sure we play a little bit careful on the mass limit. This is kilotons, of course, so 1,000 tons. This is a million credits. So let's start with propulsion mode. So you've got combustion rockets. That's good old-fashioned, like fire. Like you put things together and make fire, and it pushes stuff. Then you've got nuclear thermal rocket modules. The idea here being that you run like a supercritical reactor. It's critical reactor, not supercritical, and you feed the fuel through it. The fuel goes through, gets really hot from it's going through a nuclear reactor, and spews out the other end. Basically, something like that. I'm not an exact expert on how nuclear reactors work, but basically the idea, the nuclear thermal rocket module is big, and it's pretty powerful. And it goes through fuel a lot slower than, say, combustion does. I think off the top of my head. Basically, it's the go-to thing for choosing main spacecraft. These are maybe missiles, because they certainly get a good amount of thrust. These get a good amount of thrust as well, but they're a lot bigger. Then you've got resisto-jet modules, which, yeah, these don't get you much thrust, and they do use a lot of energy to actually really get them. They're okay, but, yeah, I mean, we'll look at this. We're looking at kilonewtons of force here. There we go, almost a meganewton. And by that I mean like 2/3 of a meganewton, whereas up here you're looking at like, look at this, like 4... This one is one I made. You might want to ignore these for the moment. Yeah, they have almost 30 meganewtons. They're actually terrible because the AI can't handle it. But we'll get around to that later. And then you've got the Magneto Plasma Dynamic Thruster Module. It's basically like an ion drive. It basically uses noble gases, pushes them out the end, and that is really efficient. Like, look at the exhaust velocity you're getting. Like 10.6 kilometers per second and 24.3 kilometers per second. Exhaust velocity is tied to specific impulse. And specific impulse is like a measure of efficiency. So, like, they're really good at being efficient, and you'll get, like, really high delta V and stuff, but you will not get much thrust at all. Like, look at this. Newtons, not even kilonewtons. 1.79 kilonewtons. Wow, so good. We're going to stick with a good old-fashioned nuclear thruster, and I'm kind of feeling that the methane is probably the better one. So we're going to grab not my ridiculous ones. We'll grab a standard 4.1 meganewton methane thruster. We'll talk about like custom modules later on when we actually do like maybe a next episode or something. We'll actually start making some custom modules. So the idea here is that the stuff is fed into the nuclear reactor, it heats up and it gets shot out the end. And we're using methane for that. So we need reaction mass. Let's add a propellant. And you see it's already selected methane thrust. Now we can have a armored methane tank, which will weigh 1.11 kilotons for 1 kiloton, or we can get 1.04 kilotons for 1 kiloton. We might as well go armored. And how much delta V does that give us? 13.9. Now, of course, we'll go down as we add extra weight. Delta V is like, you know, the measure of how far we can go, how much fuel effectively we have for our own weight. So while that is awesome, as we add weight, it'll go down. And notice it doesn't go up much. That's because the more fuel we have, the more weight we have to cart around. We're having to push all the more fuel, which kind of sucks. However, then you consider the fact that, actually, we're going to add a lot more weight anyway, so the fuel will be needed at some point. And maybe we should also have more engines. If only for the sake of, well, for start acceleration. We don't want to go below 100 milligrams in theory. That's kind of my cutoff point. But also because we want, like, redundancy. If we lose an engine, we still want to be able to move. So let's change that up to 3 for the moment. Just 3 and 3. Then what do we need? Well, we're going to need some sort of power. Depends on what weapon we're using. And I'm going to say we're probably going to end up using railguns and coil guns because I want range. So we will end up using a payload, not a payload, sorry, a power plant. I always get these wrong because I go, ooh, nuclear power. And we're going to want something powerful. For now, I guess we'll go with a 13.5 megawatt thermoelectric fission reactor. Lovely. And the downside is we just have the one. Maybe we should go for like multiple. Now the problem is the next one down is just a 1 like megawatt, which actually isn't that much smaller. We could get more, but the only reason to do that would be redundancy. Alright, we're also going to need, and this is going to be a lovely one. Let's actually push it down to the end. We're going to need somewhere for our crew to live. Now, here's the thing. Your crew, you don't really want to expose them to radiation. They tend to die. And both the nuclear engines and the reactor put out large amounts of, you guessed it, radiation. Partly because, well, radiation shielding is heavy. That's kind of how it works, give or take. I'm very highly simplifying it. But the denser it is, the more stuff is in the way of the radiation, and it stops the radiation getting through. Very crudely simplified, but generally that's true. That's why lead is great at stopping radiation. So is depleted uranium. Concrete, still relatively good. It's not as dense, but much easier to get, and you can pour it and stuff. And like lead, well, I guess you can pour lead if you heat it up. But by the by, we don't really use any real containment on our reactor. Because, well, it would be kind of self-defeating. We would suddenly be pushing around a lot more weight. So, let's try putting our crew in and see what happens. So, let's just say we put a 20 crew module in. It's not radiation safe. You can see that we have 138 millisieverts of radiation annually above the limit of 50. We're actually not doing too bad. If, for instance, though, I had the reactor up here, you can see we've now gone up to an entire sievert. So, let's push that back down to the end. And because it's further away, they're getting less radiation, because the radiation goes out in a cube power, because it goes out, you know, this entire area, as a sphere, is being filled with the radiation. As it expands, it disappears. Actually, it's not a sphere. It's the surface area of the sphere as it passes, so it would be a square. I don't know if that's making a lot of sense. I'm kind of trying to talk fast, because I do realize people want me to get to the shooting as well. So what we can do is we can add some radiation shielding in a very specific location. Not that end. This end. And notice that now we're fine. We're radiation safe. So, we now need to make sure that our people are actually enough people to man the guns and stuff. However, we haven't had any guns. So what we need to do is add the guns and then see how many people we need. So let us go to weapons. Right. Well, for a start, I believe you have the longest range. Range is generally a function of muzzle velocity in space for projectile weapons. Let's ignore this one for now. This is a very, very powerful one. 210 megawatts. I made that personally. That is a custom railgun. We're going to ignore it for now. We will come to that when we do custom weapons later on. It's just because we haven't unlocked them by the time we get this mission. And I don't want to do this mission with custom weapons unlocked that I unlocked after doing this mission, because it kind of defeats the purpose, especially if you're watching, like, how do I do this mission? It doesn't really help you. So we're going to go for a normal one here. The reason we're going for this one is because it's got the highest muzzle velocity. It will have the best range. And we can outrange our foes. That way we can shoot at them before they can shoot at us. I like the idea. The alternative is we could do stuff like grabbing some coil guns. Ignore this. This is a custom one as well. It fires a nuclear weapon. It actually fires a fusion weapon. We've got this, which has got a muzzle velocity of 2.35. 514. You're pretty tempting. For only 13 megawatts as well. You're, what, 6.37 with a 15-gram round. And you're 514 with a 10-gram round. Yeah. We can fire a bigger projectile faster. 22.9 tons, and you are 66.9 tons. Yeah, we're definitely going to go with this. Now, let's also check some of the more vital stats before we place you. It has a turning speed of 23.5 degrees per second. So it might take a second or two to get on target, and the max turn angle is 72 degrees, so it should be able to cover most things. And then we can place it onto the side. Place it here for now. So, now, we can always put, like, extra guns on. Like, we can click this button, and look, we've got loads of guns all around us. But we're only really going to be engaging a person on one side. Now, if we were going head-on at the enemy, trying to get close enough, going through their fire, that's a different matter. But we're going to be effectively sitting there waiting for them to come to us, because we're going to outrange them. Or at least that's the plan. So, we can probably just put guns on one side of our ship. Because we know their composition, we can build against it. So, we're going to put guns on one side of the ship, and then the rest of the ship, we can, well, maybe even drop armor on the other side of the ship. It'll certainly help on weight. Right, so... rotation, you're fine. Add ammo. Nope, you already start with ammo anyway. Let's duplicate you. Duplicate you again. Duplicate you again. A little further away. Duplicate you again. Remember, once we start engaging the enemy, we will need enough firepower to defeat them before they can actually get close. I'm looking at my kilotons and mega credits down here. Trying to space these evenly. And I'm completely failing. Right, that's 5. 6. 7. 8. Okay. And that'll be the side that we show to the enemy when we engage. Okay, now what are you complaining about? They're uncalled, that's uncalled, you're not supplied enough power. So we need 39 megawatts. How much have we got at the moment? We've got 13.5. So, let's go over to the reactor. And we were complaining about not having enough redundancy. Well, we're going to have enough redundancy now. There we go. We now have 40.5. However, if we still lose one reactor, we lose the ability to fire our railguns, because together they only just have enough power for our railguns. If we had a spare one, but we don't. So, I'm going to pass at the moment. How much does a reactor cost? You know what? We'll go for 4, so we can lose one and still function. Now, bear in mind, we're looking for 11 kiloton mass limit, so we're almost getting to the halfway mark. Remember, we only want to be able to get 2 of these ships at minimum. Right. So that is, you know, pretty good amount of guns. I feel confident in that. We need to put some coolant on. We'll do that probably towards the end. Now, we need to do some anti-drone weapons and some anti-missile weapons. And I found a very good tactic for that. New payload. Not payload. God damn it, I do that every time. Weapon. We want a nuclear weapon launcher. Ignore the Teraton torpedo launcher. We'll talk about that in the custom video. Ignore the Type 1 cannon drone launcher. It doesn't even work. And I believe there is a mini missile launcher, which we should also be ignoring for now. Yeah, again, the smallest possible fusion weapon I could find. No, we need something that wouldn't be any of those anyway. We need something that can take out a load of drones by detonating near them a nuclear weapon, saturating them, overheating them, and hopefully destroying them. So we need to either run around with a load of normal nukes, or pony up some devastator nukes. Devastator nukes, how much do you cost? 4.44 million credits and a mass of 200 tons. Okay. The alternative being Striker. 33.2 tons and 50 ammo. 50 ammo is nice. And cost less than $1 million. Yeah. The Devastator is expensive and weighs almost 200 tons. This, a fraction of that, has 50 ammo as opposed to, was it 5? As opposed to 10. Yeah, we're going to pack Strikers. Alternative is to go with like a sniper. I've never tried the sniper out. I don't exactly know what it packs. But we're going to stick with the Strike for now, because I know the Striker better. And we're going to pack 2 of them. We're going to rotate them 90 degrees. I'm going to place them on top here. Right. And the idea is those will pump out a load of nuclear weapons. We'll then chuck nuclear weapons at any drones that come at us, any missiles that come at us, and destroy them. And we'll be fine. In theory. Then we can go in for railguns and finish the fight. We're not going to be packing drones for this mission. How are we doing on weight? Yeah, we're doing okay. We could do another... what, 1.5 tons? Okay. So what we're missing so far? Coolant, and we need more crew. Alright, well let's replace the crew module. We need 46, which is a shame because we can't use 45. 46 is best done by 2 25 ones. And now they actually overlap the plate that we've got there for radiation shielding. So we'll need a bigger plate. Or we could duplicate it and fail. No, we need to be able to replace. Need maybe a 14-meter one? Yes, okay. Now we need to cool things. We need to do 1, 2, 3 coolant loops. So this is 3 sets of radiators. Now you might wonder why don't we just have 1 set of radiators for everything? Because, well, heat flows to be even everywhere. That's kind of one of the rules of thermodynamics, is that heat wants to be even. It will flow to the lowest temperature area. And if we hook up, say, our really hot generators to our crew modules, the heat will go into the coolant loop, into the radiator, go into the crew module, and then cook everyone alive. And of course, you know, the coolness from the crew module will go into the reactor and not do very much. But we'll basically cook everyone, since everyone will go to a happy medium like the nuclear reactor. That wouldn't be good for us. So let's cool down our fission reactors. Go. How much heat do we got? We got 264 megawatts of heat. Okay. So we're going to need ridiculously sized radiators. We could do one of these radiators and not have any backups, or we could do... Dear God, how much do we need? 4 of these. And that wouldn't give us any excess. Now the problem is if we do 4... Oh, got there. Notice this. Interreflection. Add more. Look, the interreflection increases. We're still not getting enough heat. This is called interreflection. Interreflection is you are literally expelling energy in the form of heat from here, in like infrared and stuff, whatever. It's not actually infrared since they're actually glowing. We can see them in the visible spectrum. But we're getting rid of the heat as light. This is then actually hitting the other radiators and being reabsorbed. It's kind of another interesting law of physics that the temperature you emit stuff at mainly is also the temperature you mainly absorb stuff at. So we're actually absorbing 27.8% of all the stuff we expel back into other radiators. And if we decrease that, they can only just see each other, so they're 11.8. And if they're down to 2, they can't actually see each other. They've got no line of sight. So we're okay. But the more you add, the more that interreflection number increases, and you're kind of getting a not so useful one. We're going to either have to have lots of those all down the hull, or we're going to go for the big-ass ones. And you know what? We're going to replace with the big-ass ones, and it's going to be ridiculous. Look how ridiculously large they are. And we're going to have 2. And the reason I want 2 is if one gets shot out, we can still act. Dear God, that mass. They weigh half a kiloton each! That doesn't leave us much mass left. At all. We've actually got loads of credits left. Mass is more of an issue. Okay, we'll just build everything out of diamonds. Right, and we also need to rotate you 90 degrees. And you're currently interfering with one of my nukes. Missile launcher. Oh, and the crew. We need more crew as well. Fine. We'll replace you with 20, and then we'll get 3 of you. Now, we need to have radiators for you. How much heat are you putting out? 22.2. Three. Or we could do 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 silicon nitrides, yeah. That should be fine. And then you need cooling as well. How much heat? 13.8. Really? Is this the lowest we've got? I don't... Fine, we'll have 2. Push to front. There we go. Notice that these are probably emitting in, I imagine, in the infrared, which is why you can't see them glow, whereas these are emitting in the visible spectrum, which is why they're glowing to us. Right. Cost, we're about a quarter of the cost, if not less. We're fine. Mass, we're gonna push the mass limit once we add armor. We have our anti-drone weapons. We have our anti-missile weapons, which are the same ones. We have our weapons, and we just need armor. So, let's move this up, and let's add some armor. Right, add new layer. Now, the front is very blocky, and if this were anything else and I had some mass to play around with, I would add module 10 by 0 meter space, which means it is 10 meters long by 0 meters wide at the end. And then, look, it creates a point, or whatever. We're not going to do that, because quite frankly, I don't have the weight to play with to add extra mass armoring effectively nothing. We're going to have a blunt end, which is bad. If you're facing the enemy and you've got a flat end, if things hit that, they penetrate straight in. You can actually make about 30% of shots bounce off you entirely by having a 45 degree angle. 45 degree angle, bing, great. This, well, we're not going to be facing them anyway. We're going to be doing a broadside, so at the end of the day, doesn't really matter as much. Right. Now, we want... By the way, how much Delta V do we have? If we were to get rid of one of these tanks... That decreases our mass quite considerably, and you know what? Just over 4 kilometers of Delta V? That's probably going to go down to 4 when we've got the armor sorted. I'm okay with that. It's iffy against an aggressive foe, because the aggressive foe might try and out-Delta V me by just running at me repeatedly. I'll run out of Delta V, and then they'll just sprint at me, get past my long-range guns. That's my fear. So let's get a few layers of armor to begin with. I like 4 if I can actually manage it. The reason this is going to be 4 is innermost to outermost. And what we should probably do is have an outer layer of aluminium. A thin skin. There we go, I can pronounce thin. 2 millimeters. And this is going to be a Whipple shield. A Whipple shield is something like they have in the International Space Station. The idea being you have a thin layer, projectiles hit it, they probably go through into the space below. So we have a space here. 10 centimeters is probably excessive. 5. And then when they go through it, they shatter upon hitting it and go through. But since they're shattered and the energy is dispersed, what they hit below, they do less damage to. So the idea being it does that. Also, if you use like a railgun against something, when a projectile hits something, it's going so fast, the projectile doesn't act like a non-projectile. It hits it, it goes through the first thing it hits and just basically turns into plasma with very little mass left. That's actually, you know, solid. So the plasma then destroys anything inside. But if we have a space, the plasma can diffuse into that space. So we're going to have a 5 centimeter gap, followed by anti-laser, which will be something that is a ceramic. For lasers, you want something that's got preferably a light weight, along with a decent density. So like reinforced carbon-carbon is good. What do I mean about density? I don't mean that. You know what I mean. There are good things, a few good things good against lasers. Something that's got high, there we go, melting point. High melting point, but with a low density, because you want the minimum weight possible, because you don't want to weigh down your craft. But you do want to have a decent melting point, so that it doesn't melt under the laser. So here we've got a density of 1.8 tons per meter cubed, but we have a melting point of 2.2k Kelvin. Okay, I've done a couple of modifications since the finished product you just saw. I've added a couple of lasers to do sort of point defense stuff. These are actually fairly sizable lasers, actually. Green 13 megawatts, since we have the power supply. The idea being they can shoot down missiles and drones at a distance before they actually become a threat. We have a decoy, putting out 300 megawatt heat decoys, so that any like craft that come and try and shoot at us that are heat-seeking will go and hit the decoys. We also have a coil gun at the back. You know when I compared the coil gun and the railgun, I was like, the coil gun just fires 10-gram projectiles. The coil gun actually fires 10-kilo projectiles. It's literally 1,000 times heavier. So yeah, I was like, yeah, we should probably get one of those. Just in case the enemies actually manage to get past our railguns. Because our railguns don't hit particularly hard. So that is there just in case. Also, I can only afford one. They are incredibly expensive. Incredibly expensive. These things cost, I don't know, like somewhere in the region of 20 million credits each. We also have... that's it. I toyed around the armor thickness a little bit, trying to make sure we're directly under the weight, and we are exactly 5.5 kilotons and exactly, well, not sure that's exactly 120 million credits. Also, the screen is flickering occasionally. I wonder if that's coming from the recording. It's just because the graphics in this game aren't particularly great. I don't know what the graphics program they're using is, but it does seem to fail. I imagine it is Unity, judging by some of this layout. Right. Should we dive in? Boop. Allied craft. 2 YouTubers. Begin mission. Okay. Bring it.
Incoming transmission.
The Republic President's well positioned my opponent. This will be fun. This will be even more fun. It'll be cathartic. There you go. You've launched a load of stuff, and it's now on a course for us. Very well. You've launched Stinger drones and devastating nuclear missiles. Ooh, I'm so scared. There probably should be. The drones could do a lot of damage, but we have a special plan for them. 20 nukes. Oh, that was decoys. Whoopsie. Let's restart. Drones away! Well, missiles, but you get the idea. Right. We'd like to get you. Burn a lot of your fuel to make sure you close. And we're going to use our nukes to take out their missiles. Now, this is actually a tactic that's, well, I wouldn't say tried and tested, but it was a favored tactic during the Cold War. In that, if you have enemy nukes come at you, you fire nukes up into the atmosphere and destroy their nukes before they hit you. The downside of that is, massive EMP everywhere. They also developed nukes to be used to take out fleets of, well, boats. They used squadrons. There were, like, air-to-air nukes. Crazy. Nukes for everything. But in space, kind of work. Now, this is the downside. They're going to keep doing this and evading our intercept. We just have to keep setting it back up. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it as not set up until I get closer. Okay, they're launching more. Oh, and that's drones as well. Yep, they evaded. That's fine. We will set it back up. Kind of annoying that the AI can just keep doing this like AI will. Like, setting them up, taking them away, setting them up, taking them away, and I have to manually every single bleed in time. avoided us. Yeah, they have. Okay. Okay, getting close. Now, the triangles are enemy drone fleets, so we've got to be cautious of the triangles. The missiles, we have got decoys, but I would rather intercept them if possible. But I guess we'll let them hit us at sea, because I can't bother to do this to every single enemy fleet that comes to us. They've certainly got a lot less drones than they have missiles. Right.
Incoming transmission.
Got a present for you. They're off to the side. We're actually going to need to try and adjust for lateral velocity here. Get ready to detonate manually. Come on. 5, 4, 3. We took 10 of them out. 10 of their drones are now out. Should leave them with 5 in that group. They've got stingers here. We'll let the 5 come at us. I think we'll be okay to take the 5 on. We will, however, want another 20 payloads launched. And these are going to be designed to take out... Is that intercept with drone fleet? Okay. Oh! The carrier fleet is now burning directly towards me. Okay. The drones are now on us. Switch to broadside. There's only a few of them. We got this. Lasers now! Kill them with lasers. They're dead. Lasers are pretty good. We're showing you that, like, the close approach distance. It says intercept at, and then it gives me a speed that I'll intercept them. It doesn't say what the close approach will be. It looks like pretty head-on. Nope, it's a little bit off to the side. Should be able to manage that. 3, 2, 1, and... We disabled 2 of them. But I imagine we also put a lot of them into a spin. Let's take a 1-minute break. Maybe not so good. Let's inspect. No, they look pretty intact. Right. We're going to launch 5. Now let's launch 10, just to make sure. And we're going to need to try and burn to make sure we hit them nice and soon. Okay. Go fast. Now we're off to the side. 4, 3, 2, 1. We took 5 of them out. I'll count that. Okay. Broadsiding. Get ready. They're firing. We're gonna need to weather some. Oh! Damn. We weathered most of it, but they did take out one of our very vulnerable panels. I'm very glad we have 2. Right. Missiles. 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 What I'm going to do is I'm going to spend some of my Delta V to make sure we close the gap. That way we won't get so many notifications. Right, we're in. Oh, versus their fleet. Whoopsie, not the right one. I don't know if our nukes are going to make it in time. We're going to have to split them into units of 5. Because otherwise they are going to self-detonate. Cancel order, cancel order, cancel order. Right, first one out. Second one out. Third one out. Fourth one out. Gonna try our best. Flyby in 10. Now, the closer we get, the more damage their lasers are going to do. Nope. Did not exactly work. They're a lot closer than the Striker nuclear missiles. It's a damn shame that they've got the drones right on top. I really don't want to be facing the drones. Right, let's send out... $30. All of them in there. Whoever we end up fighting... I don't care. We need to fight one of them. Right. We've hit... Okay, we've got the cutter. Literally just the cutter. We must have hurt the cutter. Are you injured in any way? Yeah. I wonder. The nuclear blast did damage its back armor. Oh, they're firing decoys. And it looks like the missiles have taken the bait. It's a shame. We should have just set them up like 5 and 5 and 5. That way they'd start using their decoys up, but oh well. I should have manually detonated them. Oh well. Interesting that the cutter is out front for some reason. I'm really afraid of the drones. Seriously, the drones are going to kill us. I guess we could launch the missiles and keep them with us in the same fleet. That might not be a bad idea. Why? Oh, the missiles are here. I'm going to tell them to cancel order for the moment. I don't want the missiles actually targeting the enemy. Right, Cutter. Hi. You're probably going to die very quickly. Here we go. Let's look at your armor. Yeah, you took some damage. And then we're knocked downwards, so we need to... There we go. Now, people are wondering why you can see the bullets in space. It's like, oh, it's totally unrealistic. Oh, God, we blew them into shards. Totally unrealistic. How can you see the bullets in space? Blah, 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 blah. It's like blasters and lasers. It's so unrealistic. It's because every single projectile has a tracer in it. You don't use tracers as often on Earth because, well, you can pinpoint where someone's firing from. But we do in space because, well, you can't really hide in space. It's kind of empty. And if you're there, well, you're kind of there. So what you do is you put a tracer around the thing, and that way you can measure where you're firing. You can try and see if there's any deviation, etc., etc., etc. All right, let's continue. The Stinger drones are here. Right. Do your thing. Oh god. Oh god, oh god, oh god. They're firing at us. Oh, we destroyed the corpses. They weren't there at the end. Inspect fleet. Oh, they're dead. We've still got missiles here? They overshot us? Are they doing that deliberately, I wonder? Right. Can we do a... You are advertising the possibility of catching up with them. Are you literally deliberately leaving the system? Oh no, you're actually fighting us. Okay, nuclear missiles. Make your way towards the enemy. I don't think it's going to be an issue. Where is the other YouTube Mark? Have we lost one of our cruisers? Oh my god, we have. You're taken down by the drones. We've only got one left. Okay, I think we have to launch missiles at the same time. Split to form new fleet. Launch of orders. Launch 20 payloads. think we'll have to fire ignoring range. We're just going to have to go. Whatever we're targeting there is taking a pounding. They're dumping flares. The green ones, by the way, are the core guns. It's great being able to see the traces. That's their carrier. The enemy fleet is floundering. If you lost engines or something. Maybe they've lost Delta V. Oh, they must have lost Delta V. That's why they were shooting past me. The enemy's actually moving away. They've lost Delta V. Actually, we'd win this mission if we just left time accelerate, because they'd accelerate past us out of the system. And as soon as they go out of the sphere of influence, we win. How fast are they moving away? Let's try and catch up with them. Devastating nuclear missile? What? There are nuclear missiles around? That does not sound good. Okay, you see we're cutting down the speed here. So burn back towards them. That said, we have got nukes on the way. We're in the coast phase. Though you do seem to be not really aiming anyone in particular. Oh! We killed it! We killed the fleet carrier. You're gonna miss. You do realise that, right? Right. So expect a broadside. They're getting closer. Oh, looks like you took damage from... Oh, you're taking damage from the lasers, even though the lasers are really far away and doing basically nothing. And you see them playing across the hull there. You can't see the actual laser beam because there's nothing for them to diffract from, like in space, like on an atmosphere. Like the atmosphere itself, like bits of particles and stuff in the air, is how you see the laser bouncing off the particles. But in space, no particles. When we hit with those core guns, by the way, it's doing so much more damage than our rail guns at this range. Please launch me 20 more payloads. Oh! Oh, it got torn in half! Right, enemy corvette. Oh, you've taken some real pounding from radiation damage. Oh. Frame rate starting to bog down a little bit. So much firepower coming your way. The problem with being at such long range means that we... our guns don't have the same power that they would up front if we had like a heavy projectile. We'd have a short range, but they do a lot more damage. I don't think we can catch you. So you know what? We'll have to just let you leave the system. We're going to orange broadside, then we're going to turn off our engines, and we're going to keep firing decoys. If we've got engines on, we actually make a target. Right, engines off. Right. Come on. Keep those decoys firing. Come on, we're so close to winning this. Keep those decoys firing. Oh! Oh dear. How much damage did they do? Oh. Actually, seemingly none. They really hurt our armor. Don't get me wrong, that hurt. But we're okay. They're moving away so fast that we should eventually be good. Oh, is our engine out? God damn it. Our engine is out. Still, we should win, in theory. I don't think missiles count towards ships left. And they'll leave the system before I do. You're kidding me, that...
Incoming
There we go. Success. Oh yeah. That was much harder than last time. Okay. Well, this time we're going to be able to create some of our own modules and stuff, I think, for the next mission. We'll actually have a look at how the module design works. But I've been EnterElysium. If you have enjoyed, please like, not subscribe, please consider subscribing. Technical success right there. Yeah, totally. None of my ships really going to survive, but oh well. Until next time, stay shiny.